सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः। सिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः अजन्तपुल्लिङ्गप्रकरणे 30 भागः। एप्रिल् मासस्य 12 दिनाङ्कः। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते। अजन्तपुल्लिङ्गप्रकरणे उकारान्ताः पुल्लिङ्गाः समाप्ताः। उकारान्तपुल्लिङ्गेषु शम्भुशब्दः साधारणशब्दः हरिशब्दवत् घिसंज्ञाप्रयुक्तानि कार्याणि भवन्ति। ततः क्रोष्टुशब्दः। क्रोष्टुशब्दस्य वैशिष्ट्यं त्रिज्वद्भावः। क्रोष्टु इति शब्दः वस्तुतः तुन् इति उणादिप्रत्ययान्तः, तस्य त्रिच् प्रत्ययान्तत्वं नास्ति। तथापि त्रिज्वद्भावः अतिदिश्यते। असम्बुद्धौ सर्वनामस्थाने परे नित्यं त्रिज्वद्भावः त्रिज्वत्क्रोष्टुः इति सूत्रेण। सु औजस् अम् औ इत्येतेषु प्रत्ययेषु परेषु क्रोष्टुः त्रिज्वत् भवति। त्रिज्वत् इत्युक्ते किम् इति प्रश्नः। त्रिज्वत् इत्युक्ते यथा त्रिच् अथवा त्रिजन्तः। प्रत्ययग्रहणे तदन्ताग्राह्याः इति परिभाषया त्रिच् इत्युक्ते त्रिजन्तः। यथा त्रिजन्ताः तथा भवति इत्यर्थः। यथा त्रिजन्ताः इत्यनेन किं गृह्यते? इदानीं कर्तृ इत्यस्ति, करोति इति कर्तृ, तदपि त्रिजन्तं। पचति इति पक्तृ, तदपि त्रिजन्तं। सो क्रोष्टुशब्दस्य स्थाने कर्तृशब्दो वा पक्तृशब्दो वा प्रयोक्तुं शक्यते वा? Just because he says trijvat, can we say that the kroshtu will get rupas like any trijanta form? Can it be converted to kartru or paktru? No, we say it is kroshtru. Right? So how do we decide that it has to be kroshtru and not any other trijanta? Because Panini has not said kroshtu becomes like kroshtru, or he did not say that dukara is replaced by rikara. He just said trijvat. It becomes like a trijanta form. Now this trijanta, which trijanta? Should it be the trijanta of kroshtu, which is kroshtru, or any other trijanta? It's a question. I mean, it may seem a bit silly. I mean, when we know it is obvious that it has to be kroshtu, but why is it so obvious? Is there any paribhasha which governs this, or how do we say that it has to be kroshtu shabda? So we take the meaning. Always an adesha is the same, which can convey the meaning of the sthani. Like whenever we are replacing some sthani with an adesha, the meaning will not change. Grammar will change, only the form of the word, right? The physical form and not the meaning. व्याकरणेन शब्दानाम् एव व्यत्ययः क्रियते. शब्दानामपि व्यत्ययः न क्रियते. The shabda is as it is. But when we are studying vyakara prakriya, it is the word form, the physical form, which is changed and not the meaning of the word. Right? So the meaning has to remain same whenever we replace sthani with an adesha. This is called antarya, right? So this is in response to the question which Suji asked yesterday from the Bhaini. Kya antarya hai or something. It should have struck me then. I don't know why it did not. It's very obvious. Remember, go back to the Samya Prakarana. Sthane antaratamaha. Right? Sthane prasange sati sadrishatamaha adeshaha bhavati. Antaryam chaturvidham. There are 4 different types of antarya. Okay? Sthanataha, gunataha, pramanataha, arthataha. स्थानसादृश्यं यथा इकोणति. इकारस्य तालुस्थानकस्य इकारस्य स्थाने तालुस्थानकः यकारादेशः. स्थान गुणतः सादृश्यं यथा वाग्हरिः. झयोः अन्यतरस्याम् इत्यत्र वाग्हरिः इत्यस्ति. हकारस्य पूर्वसवर्णे कर्तव्ये तस्य बाह्यप्रयत्नाः ये सन्ति तत् समानबाह्यप्रयत्नकः वर्गचतुर्थः आदेशः भवति इति. प्रमाणतः सादृश्यं यथा ह्रस्वस्य ह्रस्वः दीर्घस्य दीर्घः इत्यादिषु अर्थतः सादृश्यम् इत्यस्य इदमेव उदाहरणं दत्तं त्रिज्वत् क्रोष्टुः क्रोष्टु शब्द being replaced by this vayanadesha means it has to be the same meaning अर्थतः सादृश्यात् क्रोष्ट्र इति त्रिजन्तस्यैव आदेशो भवति न तु अन्यस्य कस्यचन त्रिजन्तस्य. We also saw this in Padanomas where we say Pada is the adesha for what? Is Pada because of the Artha Sadrishya. That is what we call Arthataha Antaryam. Antaryam Chaturvidham. Sthana Guna Pramana Arthataha. So, Kroshta Shabdasya Kroshtr Ityadesha Trijadbhave Arthataha Antaryam. So, Trijvat Kroshtuhu Ittanena Asambuddha Sarvanamasthane Pare Nityam Trijvadbhavah तृतीयादिषु अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु विकल्पेन तृतीयभावः. Starting from tritiya vibhakti, wherever there is an ajadi pratyaya, we have an optional trijvadbhava by the sutra vibhasha tritiyadishruchi. Right? So this is all which happens directly with kroshtu. We replace it with kroshtu. The prakriya which happens later is all not specific to kroshtu shabda. It is whatever would happen to any other rikaranta. Idani aparah prashna. So after we do all this all these manipulations, saying in some cases there is an compulsory trijvadbhava, in some cases there is an optional one, there is a natural question which would arise, which the Balamanoramakara also raises. Nanu trijvat kroshtuhu striyam cha vibhasha tritiyadishvachi iti trisutri vyartha. Trijvat kroshtuhu is 7195. In between we have something called Triyamcha, which says in Strilinga there is a compulsory Trijvadbhava. That is the Strilinga form of Kroshtu would be Kroshtri, like Kartri is Kartri, Naptri is Naptri. It gets Trijvadbhava, it becomes Kroshtri, and then it gets Nip, so it becomes Kroshtri. Okay. So there are three sutras which give Trijvadbhava. Trijvat Kroshtuhu, Striyamcha, Vibhasha, Tiyadishruchi. Yam Trisutri Vyartha. He says it is a waste. All the three sutras are useless. Why? Shrigala Vachinohu Kroshta Shabdayohu Swatantrayohu Sattvat. You have a separate Kroshtu Shabda, which is a Tunnanta and Ukaranta. You also have a separate Trijanta Shabda, which is Kroshtr, which is Rikaranta. Right. So, why do you need this? I mean, why are you doing an optional Trijvadbhava sometimes and saying there is no Trijvadbhava sometimes? Thing is, in all forms, you will have a Rikaranta form because there is an independent Kroshtra Shabda and you have an independent Kroshtra Shabda. So, why are you, what is the point in an optional Trijvadbhava? Right? When you have two different words, you will end up with two different forms. Why do you need a sutra to say there is an optional Trijvadbhava? At least the compulsory one might make sense. That in the first five there is no Ukaranta form, there is only Rikaranta form. But the optional one makes absolutely no sense. Since you have two different words, you already have two different forms naturally. Why do you need a sutra to say there are two forms? Iti chet. Shrigalavach nanu trijvat kroshtuhu striyancha vibhasha tritiyadishvachi iti trisutri vyartha Shrigalavachinohu kroshta shabdayohu swatantrayohu sattvat iti chet shrunu sarvanamasthane striyamcha rudantasyeva kroshta shabdasya prayogaha. So all this is based on prayoga. He says in sarvanamasthānas and in strilinga the prayoga is only for the rudanta form. The ukaranta form is not there. Okay. Tritiyadishu ajadishu ubhayasya. From tritiya vibhakti onwards, wherever there is an ajadi pratyaya, ubhayasya, you have both prayoga of both rikaranta and ukaranta. Shasi haladishu cha. In shas and wherever it's a haladi pratyaya, udantasya iva. The prayoga is only for the ukaranta form. You cannot say that I'll take the rikaranta kroshtra shabda and derive all forms. It is not there. There is no prayoga. So, sarvanamasthane striyam cha ridantasya iva kroshtra shabdasya prayogaha tritiyadishu ajadishu tu ubhayasya shasi haladishu cha udantasya iva iti niyamartha trisutri. So these three sutras create that niyama. In the prayoga, if it is sarvanamasthana or strilinga, we use only the rakaranta form. If it is hal, haladi pratyaya or shas, we use only the udanta form. Only in case of ajadi pratyayas from tritiya, we have both ukaranta and rakaranta. So this was the ukarantaha pullingaha. Nakarantaha pullingaha, dirgha ukarantaha. So ukaranta pullinga prakarana is very, very easy if you have grasped the ikaranta pullingas. Okay. Yadi ikarantaha pullingaha avagataha, tarhi ukaranta pullingeshu vishishtam kimapi nasti. There's absolutely nothing new. Just like if we knew ikarantas, ukarantas are very easy. At least in ukarantas there is something special like kroshtu. In ukarantas there is nothing. It's almost exactly a ditto of what we did in ikarantas. Okay. So if you remember, in ikarantas we have different types of ikarantas. We have to first decide how the word has been derived. Okay. So there are two things to be decided. Has it been derived from a dhatu? That is, does the ukara belong to a dhatu? Is one thing. And the second thing is, does it have nadi samya? Use triakhyo nadi. If it is dirgha ikaranta or dirgha ukaranta, there is a chance of it being having a nadi samya. If the original word was nitya strilinga, then there would be nadi samya. So we have to decide, is the ukara derived from a dhatu? And second thing, does it have nadi samya? If we decide these two things, samanyataha, if it is neither, it is not derived from a dhatu and it does not have nadi samya, iko enachi iti yan. General yan adesha would be by using iko enachi. So if it has nadi samya, use takhyo nadi ityanena nadi samya asti chet kim bhavati? Tannimittani karyani. Kani nadi samya prayuktani karyani ambartha nadyor hrasvaha iti sambuddhi hrasvaha an nadyaha iti nitam adagamaha hrasva nadyapo nut iti amaha nudagamaha nyeram nadyam nebhyaha iti nehe amadesha. All these four are nadi samya prayukta karyani. So if the word has nadi samya, it will get these four. Dhatu samyayam, if it has samya called dhatu, not that, if the ukara originally belonged to a dhatu, then like we had in ikaranta, we had eranekacho sanyoga purvasya, which applied for ehe, for ikarantas only, is ikarasya. Here we have another sutra which is ohu supi. This is not vohu, there is no vyanjana here, it is only ohu. U ityasya shashti ekvachane ohu. O supi ityanena yan. Only the sutra varies, but the conditions for the yan adesha are all the same. So we have yan adesha by o supi. If the dhatu is ukaranta, there is no sanyoga preceding the ukara, and the anga is anekach. It has many swaras. Okay, so same conditions which are there for evanekacho sanyoga purvasya apply here. If that is the case, we have yan by o supi. Taditaranam dhatunam. If the ukara belongs to a dhatu, but there is some condition which is missing. Okay, we said it has to be anekach, it has to be asanyoga purva, etc. If some of these conditions are missing, then achishna dhatu bhruvam yor iyang uvangau iti sutrena uvang adesha. Okay, if there is no yan, there will be uvang adesha by this sutra. That is all. So decide if the ukara is from a dhatu or if it has nadiskarya. That's all. If that is done, we can proceed on any of these lines as would apply. Okay. So first word which we are dealing with ukarantas is hu. Okay. We had, if you remember, akarantas, we had a word called ha. Ha and hu are the names of two gandharvas. Ha hu shaiva madhya gandharvas tridivokasam ityamaraha. So it is the name of some demigods. ukarantam anishpannam pratipadikam. It is an underived, that is, there is no prakriti pratyaya. Okay, hu is a ready-made word, which means the ukara is not from a dhatu. And since this is not strilinga, this is a pullinga prakarana, there is no nadi samya also. Okay? So kim bhavati, if you look at the previous thing, it is iko enachi iti yanadesha. Sarvatra ajadishu iko enachi iti yan. Okay, you have hu. Su pratyaye rutvam visakaha hu au. It is iko enachi iti yanadeshe hu vaha, etc. So iko enachi is overruled in 3 cases. Okay, by parasutras. Iko enachi is always overruled by 3. One is amipurvaha. If it is the dvitiya ekavachana am pratyaya, always amipurvaha applies. Hu am, it is the hum. Shas pratyaye, we always have prathamayoh purva savarnaha. Hu as, it is the purva savarna dirghe hus. Tasmat sasonah pumsi iti natve hun. Okay. And then no, ni. Saptami ekavachane, you have hu and e. Sorry, this does not apply here. This applies only in ikarantas because the pratyaya is also ikaranta. Okay, so there is no savarna dirgha in ni. Hu e itisthite yanadesha. Iko enachi will apply and there is hu vi. Okay. So ami purva rupam shasi purva savarna dirgha. There are only 2 exceptions to yan. One is purva rupa and the other is purva savarna dirgha. Okay. So again, this is so if you see everywhere ajadi pratyayashchet iko enachi iti yanadesha. You have hu vaha, hu va, hu ve, everywhere. Okay. There are a couple of mistakes in this slide. Just a second while I'll try to correct them. Okay. So hu shabdaha, where you have so ajadishu pratyayeshu iko enachi iti yanadesha. So you see that hu vaha, hu vam. There is no nudagama because hrasva nadi up. If only if it is hrasvanta, ajanta or abanta, then only nut would apply. So you do not have nudagama. So everywhere you have iko enachi iti yanadesha. Kevalam ami purva rupam shasi purva savarna dirgha. Only 2 exceptions for yan because it is overruled by parasutras. Purva rupa ami purvaha and prathamayoh purva savarnaha come later than iko enachi. So they overrule yan and you have 2 forms, hu and hu hum. Okay. So this is the general ukaranta shabda where there is no dhatutva and no nadi samya. Next, atichamu shabdetu nadi karyam visheshaha. Chamum atikrantaha atichamuhu. Chamuhu nama sena ityarthaha. Chamuhu means army. Okay. So atichamu, chamum atikrantaha, he who has crossed the armies or excelled an army, etc. Who has conquered a whole army, something is called atichamu. Okay. Now chamu is a nitya strilinga shabda. Ukarantaha nitya strilingaha. Use tyakhyo chamu shabdasya ukarantatvat nitya strilingatvat cha use tyakhyo nadi iti nadi samya. So it has nadi samya. Only chamu. Remember that it's the chamu shabda which is nitya strilinga and has nadi samya. Atichamu is not Nitya Strilinga. Whenever you have Bahuvrihi, it always exists in all three lingas. Because, I mean, it's the nature of Bahuvrihi. You can either say Chamu Matikrantaha, Chamu Matikranta, not just Bahuvrihi, anything where it becomes an Upasarjana. Because this is not exactly Bahuvrihi, this is Tatpurusha, but still Chamu Atikrantaha. It is not Chamu Shabda which has Pradhanya here. Chamu is Gauna. It is he who has excelled, who is being talked about by the word, and not the army itself. Okay? So wherever there is Gaunatva or Apradhanya, there can be any linga. It can be Chamu Matikrantaha or Chamu Matikranta or Chamu Matikrantam. So you cannot say that Atichamu is Nitya Strilinga. Okay? It was the Chamu Shabda which was Nitya Strilinga and had Nadi Samya. There is a Vartika saying Prathamalinga Grahanam Cha. In use Traksho Nadi. For Nadi Samya, we also consider the original word. For Chamu ityasya Nadi Samyayaha Satvat, Prathamalinga Grahanam Cha iti Vartikena, Upasarjanatvepi Atichamu Shabdasya Nadi Samya Asti. So now Atichamu Shabda has Nadi Samya and the Ukara is not from a Dhatu. Okay, Ukara is from the Stri Pratyaya. Pratyaya, so it is not a dhatu. Tada kim bhavati? He atichamu. Nadi samya prayuktani kani karyani ambartha nadyor hrasvaha sambuddhau parataha ambarthanam nadyantanam hrasvo bhavati. He atichamu s iti sthite ambartha nadyor hrasvaha iti hrasvaha. He atichamu s eng hrasvat sambuddhe he tenem sambuddhi lope he atichamu rupam. That is one Nadi Karya. Okay. Atichamvai. Atichamu e iti sthite chaturtheka vachane pratyayase nitvat. Nye iti pratyayah nitvat nitam pratyayanam an nadyaha ityanena at agamah kriyate. Atichamu a e. A e iti sthite atascha ityanena vruddhau ai. Atichamu ai ikoanaci ityanadeshe atichamvai. Atra adagamah विशेषः नदीकार्यम् एवमेव अतिचम्बाः पंचमी षष्ठी एकवचने अतिचमु अस् इति स्थिते आडागमे सवर्णदीर्घे एणादेशे अतिचम्बाः अतिचमूनाम् अतिचमू आम् इति स्थिते ह्रस्वनद्यापो नुट् नद्यन्तानां नुट् आगमः क्रियते अतिचमूनाम् ञेर् आम् ञेः आम् नदी आप् नीभ्यः ङेः आम् इति आदेशः अतिचमु नि इ इति स्थिते तस्यामादेशे अतिचमु आम् आडागमः आटश्च इति वृत्तिः अनन्तरम् इको एणचि इति एणादेशे अतिचम्वाम्. So there are four karyas which depend on nadi samya. Ambartha nadyor hrasvah, an nadyah, hrasvanadyapo nut and neram nadyam nibhyah. So these four will happen if there is nadi samya. So Ajarishu pratyayeshu iko enaci iti yan. This is normal. So you have the usual Purva Rupa and Purva Savarna Dirgha is also there. In addition, whatever is marked in red is where we have the Nadi Karya. Sambuddhi Hrasva, Adagama, Nudagama, Amadeshaha. Nadi Prayukta Karyani. So this is the second type where there is no Dhatutva, so N is by Iko Enaci, and you have all Karyas which depend on Nadi Samya. Next, you have Ukarantaha Pumlingaha Khalapu Shabdaha. Khalan Punati. Khalaha nama dushtaha tan punati pavitri karoti ityartha puni pavane dhatuhu pung pui iti bhau dhatustaha dhatuhu quip pratyayah kriyate khalapu ityeva. You should remember quip, whenever we add it, it's a sarvapahari lopaha. So you added the kakara and pakara go by it samya and vakara is deleted by vera pratyasa. There is no karya here. In this particular case, there is no karya for the prakriti, so it remains as khalapu. Iti ukarantam pratipadikam, but the ukara is from a dhatu. Pu iti dhatu. So dhatohu ukaraha. So what happens? Khalapu su. Prathamaika vachane kimapi nasti. ससुरेशोरुः इति रुत्वं विसर्गः खलपूः. Okay. Au pratyaya pare kim bhavati. So what will happen when khalapu is followed by uktaya? Khalapu au iti sthite. What should happen? I mean, what are the possibilities of which are present? Okay. So what is the first thing that could happen? What are the possibilities of sutras applying? Whenever we are considering possibilities, we go from the most general sutra. Okay. So which is the general sutra which would apply if it is khalapu au? Yan adesha by which sutra? Okay. So iko and achi is the first sutra which could apply. If you just have ukara and aukara, wherever ukara is followed by au, without expecting anything else, what would happen is yanadesha. So iko and achi iti yanadeshe prapte. What would overrule yan in this case? So then we go to specifications. Kim bhavet? Iko and achi iti na bhavati. Yanadesham badhitva kim bhavitum arhati. Okay. It's not directly uvang. Before uvang, is there any other sutra which could apply here? Say if you had shambhu au, kim bhavati? Hema?
Pratamayoha purvasavarnaha akaha, not followed by.
Right. Exactly. So akaha prathama dvitiyayoho achi pare. So since this is prathama vibhakti, pratamayoha purvasavarnaha ityanena purvasavarna dirghaha bhavitum arhati. So since it is parasutra, iko and achi ityasmat paratva pratamayoha purvasavarnaha iti purvasavarna dirghaha bhavitum arhati. So will purvasavarna dirgha happen? If not, why not? पूर्वसवर्णदीर्घः कुतो न भवति? So yeah, Hema says nadichi. It is not nadichi. पूर्वसवर्णदीर्घस्य निषेधः विद्यते दीर्घाज्जसि च. Right? Because this is not at. अवर्णादिचि परे नादिचि इति निषेधः. दीर्घात् जसि च. Dirghat jasi ichi cha pare. So if a dirgha is followed by jas or ich, which is au, tada purvasavarna dirghasya nishedhah asti. Right? So purvasavarna dirghah na bhavati. Punaha iko enachi ityanena yanadeshah prapnoti. Tadanim achishna dhatu bhruvam yor iyang uvango. This is 7477, not 64. सप्तमाध्याये अचिष्णुधातु भ्रुवां योर इयं उमङौ इत्यनेन उवङादेशः अचि whenever there is an ajadi pratyaya, if it is shnu dhatu bhruvam uvarnantah yah dhatuh shnu pratyayantah bhru iti shabdascha. Okay, so uvarnantah yah dhatuh tasya ukarasya achi pare ajadau pratyaye pare uvang ityadeshah bhavati. So we had yan initially, then there was possibility of purva savarna dirgha, which is negated by dirgha jasicha. So we came back to yan, but yan was overruled by achishna dhatu bhruvam yor iyang, which is a parasutra. Okay. Now we had to have uvang. There is another sutra, o supi. पदद्वयम् ओहु सुपि अचिष्णुधातुभ्रुवाम् इत्यतः अचि इति अनुवर्तते इणोयण् इति सूत्रात् यण् इति अनुवर्तते एकनेकाचो संयोगपूर्वस्य इति सूत्रात् अनेकाचः असंयोगपूर्वस्य इति अनुवर्तते कः अर्थः धात्ववयवसंयोगपूर्वो न भवति यः उवर्णः ओहु यथा शम्भु इत्यस्य षष्ठी एकवचने शम्भोः तथा उ इति प्रातिपदिकस्य षष्ठी एकवचने ओहु इति रूपम् हाउ डू वी गेट ओहु का प्रक्रिया उ इत्यस्य षष्ठी विभक्तौ ओहु इति उक्तं प्रक्रिया का how do we get ohu from u iti hrasvantam pratik anybody like Shambhu it's very easy Shadagopanji
yeah just like guru
exactly prakriya ka किं भवति which is the प्रकृतिः का प्रत्ययः कः Shadagopanji sorry make this try pratyaya which is the pratyaya for shashti ekavachana
as
as nas pratyaya as so u as ityasti okay guru as ityasti किं भवति
there's a guna because of gyaniti
exactly घेर नीति घी संज्ञा विद्यते शेषोख्य सखी इत्यनेन तो घी संज्ञायाः सत्त्वात् घेर नीति इति गुणः गुणे कृते किं भवति उकारस्य गुणत्वे ओकारः सो ओ अस् अनन्तरं गुरो अस् इति स्थिते किं भवेत् there is a purva rupa right ngasi ngasoshcha engah ngasi ngaso rati pare so when an eng is followed by the akara of ngasi or ngas there is a purva rupa so purva rupe sati kim bhavati os o as iti sthite os rutve visarge ohu iti rupam okay so ohu ityasya uvarnasya ityarthah so धात्ववयव संयोगपूर्वो न भवति यः उवर्णः तथा धातौ संयोगः न भवेत् उवर्णात् प्राक् संयोगः न भवेत् तदन्तः यः धातुः तदन्तस्य अनेकाचः अङ्गस्य अङ्गम् अनेकाच् भवेत् तदा यण् भवति अजादौ सुपि okay whenever it is followed by a sup pratyaya which is also ajadi okay एरनेकाचो संयोगपूर्वस्य अस्य च अयमेव भेदः सुपि ओ सुपि इति यणादेशः सुप्रत्यये परतः एव भवति एरनेकाचो संयोगपूर्वस्य इति यण् तु सुप्रत्यये परेपि भवति तिङ् प्रत्यये परेपि भवति सर्वत्र भवति okay so एरनेकाचो संयोगपूर्वस्य is more generic so you can apply it anywhere where the conditions are satisfied o supi applies only if the pratyaya is a sup pratyaya तत्र एणनेकाचः इत्यत्र वार्तिकमपि पठितं गतिकारकेतरपूर्वपदस्य यण् नेष्यते यत्र गतिपूर्वपदं कारकपूर्वपदं वा भवति तत्रैव यणादेशः अन्यत्र यण् न भवति so gati it is for now you can consider it as an upasarga kriyayoge gatischa pradayah kriyayoge upasargasamyah gatisamyascha स्युः so gatisamya asti chet purvapadasya athava karakatvam asti chet if you remember we are dealing with the khalapu shabda khalan punati dushtan pavitri karoti dushtan iti dvitiya bahuvachanam karma karakam right dushtan pavitri karoti khalan iti कारक पूर्वपदम so गतिकु पूर्वपदम अस्ति चेत अथवा कारक पूर्वपदम अस्ति चेत यण् भवति तदितर पूर्वपदस्य यण् न भवति तथा तत्र यथा तथा अत्रापि so इदानीं अस्य कारक पूर्वपदत्वात् यण् भवति खलपु औ इति स्थिते उवङ् अचिष्णुधातु भ्रुवाम् इति उवङ्गं बाधित्वा ओस्सुपि इत्यनेन यणादेशः खलप्वौ खलप्वः इत्यादि everywhere अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु सर्वत्र ओस्सुपि इति यणादेशः एवं सुल्वादयः says other words like suluhu सुष्ठु लुनाति लूनिच्छेदने इति धातुः सुलू इत्यस्ति धातोः ऊकारः संयोगः नास्ति सुलू इति अनेकाच् अङ्गम् so whenever we are applying you have to check all conditions are satisfied so धात्ववयव संयोगपूर्वो न भवति यः उवर्णः अत्र उवर्णः संयोगपूर्वः नास्ति तदन्तः धातुः लू इति धातुः तदन्तस्य अनेकाचः अङ्गस्य सुलू इति अनेकाच् अङ्गस्य अजादौ सुप्रत्यये सुलु औ इति स्थिते यण् भवति सुल्वौ सुल्वः and this is gati right सुष्ठु लुनाति इत्यत्र सु इत्यस्य गतिसंज्ञा अस्ति so गतिपूर्वकत्वात् यणादेशः भवति so if you say उकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः खलपु शब्दः सर्वत्र अजादिषु प्रत्ययेषु ओस्सुपि इति यण् notice अमिपरेपि यणादेशः शसिपरेपि यण् because Osupi is in the 7th chapter. It overrules Amipurvaha and Pratamayoh Purvasamanaha. Iko enachi iti 6.177. Amipurvaha is 6.1.107, I think. And Pratamayoh Purvasamanaha is 6.1.102. So Iko enachi iti yatra enadeshaha. Tatra Amipurvaha Pratamayoh Purvasamanaha iti pravartete. Both sutras apply. But when we are doing yen using Osupi, this yen overrules both Amipurvaha and Pratamayoh Purvasamanaha. So everywhere, Sarvatra Ajadishu Pratyayeshu, Osupi iti yen. There is no other karya. So you see, if it's haladi, there is no karya at all. Phalapu, bhyam, phalapu, this, etc. If it is ajadi, we do Osupi iti yen. Very, very easy. Okay. We go to the Dalakritya. Osupi ityasya Dalakrityam उच्यते अनेकाचः किम् एहे अनेकाचः असंयोगपूर्वस्य इत्यतः अनेकाच् इति अनुवर्तते असंयोगपूर्वस्य इत्यपि अनुवर्तते अनेकाचः इति किमर्थम् इति चेत् यत्र अङ्गम् एकाच् where the anga which is the प्रातिपदिका here has a single ach single swara तत्र ओसुपि इति यण् न भवति लूः लुवौ लुवः लुनाति iti lu, just somebody who cuts ityarthe kartari quip pratyayah kriyate. So the dhatu is also lu, pratipadikam api lu ityeva. Tasmat supratyayeshu pratyayeshu yadyapi sanyoga purvatvam nasti tathapi anekachitvam nasti. It is an ekach. Ukaraha eka eva ach. Anekachitva bhavat atra yan na bhavati. So yan na bhavati chet, as you said, if it is a dhatu, there are only two options. Either you have yan or you have uvang. Yatra yanaha praptihi nasti. Tatra uvang. Achishnu dhatu bhavam yor yang uvangau ityanena uvang adeshe luhu luvau luvaha. Anyani rupani samanani. So you should remember that wherever there was yan, there would be uvang. That is all. Dhatvavayava iti kim. Right? So असंयोगपूर्वस्य इत्यस्ति वृत्तौ सूत्रार्थे किं लिखितं धात्ववयव संयोगपूर्वो न भवति यः वर्णः सः संयोगः धात्ववयवः भवेत् इत्युक्ते उल्लूः उल्लुनाति लू इत्यस्मात् धातोः उत् इति उपसर्गः ओके उत् लू इति स्थिते what is the sandhi how do we get ullu when there is ut lu or ud lu ityasti udityupasargah ud lu ityasti kas sandhihi
Torli.
तोर्लि इत्यनेन परसवर्णः तवर्गस्य लकारे परे परसवर्णः इत्यनेन उल्लु इति भवति अत्र लकारद्वयस्य संयोगः विद्यते राइट यू हैव ल एंड ल व्हिच इज प्रीसीडिंग द उकार सो संयोगपूर्वः अस्ति देयर इज संयोग किन्तु धात्ववय संयोगः नास्ति अयं संयोगः उपसर्गस्थस्य एकस्य वर्णस्य धातोः अपरः वर्णः सो the first lakara belongs to the upasarga, the second lakara belongs to the dhatu. Right? So there is no sanyoga. Exactly, this is the same as unni. There we had utuni, there we have utulu. That's all. So since the sanyoga does not belong to the dhatu entirely, there is no nishedha for yan. Right? So if the sanyoga belonged to the dhatu, there would not have been yan. But since the sanyoga does not belong to the dhatu, we still consider this as asanyoga purva. So asanyoga purva varnah anekach angam. So os supi ityanena yanadeshah bhavati. So we have yan by os supi. So it is ulluhu, ulvau, ulvaha. Asanyoga purvasya kim? Dhatau sanyogah asti chet. Kim bhavati? Yan na bhavati uvangadeshah. Katapruhu, katapruvau, katapruvaha. प्रू गतौ इति धातुः पकाररेफयोः संयोगः धातौ एव अस्ति सो दिस संयोग एंटायरली बिलोंग्स टू द धातु दैट इज व्हाई देयर इज नो यण् यणः भावे उवङ् अचिष्ण धातु भ्रुवाम् इत्यनेन उवङि कटप्रूः कटप्रुवौ कटप्रुवः लू देयर इज नथिंग एक्सेप्ट उवङ् ओके द एवरीथिंग इज द सेम एज वी हैड फॉर खलपु except that wherever we had yan ami shasi sarvatra ajadishu pratyayeshu achishnu dhatu bhruvam ityanena uvangadeshu bhavati lu shabdasya katapru shabdasya sarvesham so you just have to decide will it be yan or will it be uvang over gati ityadi kim gatikarакетara purvapadasya yan neshyate ityuktam अर्थात if the purvapada is neither gati nor karaka then there will not be yanadesha paramaluhu paramaluvau paramaluvaha paramalu shabda paramaschasau lushcha lunati iti luhu he who cuts is called lu and there is a visheshana for lu paramaha luhu iti karmadharaya samasah karakatvam nasti gatitvam api nasti tena yan na bhavati gati karaka itara purva padasya so if it is neither gati nor karaka yan na bhavati so there is if there is no yan it is uvang paramaluhu paramaluvau paramaluvaha supi kim ohu supi iti uktam kimartham luluvatuhu iti daktam lu chedane dhatohu लिट्लकारे प्रथम पुरुष द्विवचने रूपम so we have this is a tinganta it's litlakara prathama द्विवचने tas pratyayah tasya atus iti adeshah lulu atus ityasti so you notice all other conditions are satisfied the important point when we are doing the lakritya is to satisfy that except this point other conditions should be satisfied okay so sarvada tathaiva wherever it is dalakritya other than the point which is being contested for example the point which is being contested here is why should he say sup why did he have to mention sup that is the point of contention so all other conditions for the application of the sutra should be satisfied then only it can be given as an example as a pratyudaharana for this point okay if there are 2-3 things which are missing for example if it was pru dhatu you cannot give that as a pratyudaharana for this point, because there are other conditions also missing. Okay. So lulu atus ityasti. So संयोगः नास्ति. धात्ववयव संयोगपूर्वो न भवति यः उवर्णः तदन्तो यो धातुः लु इति धातुः तदन्तस्य अनेकाचः अङ्गस्य अत्र अङ्गं भवति लुलु इति अज् द्वयम् अस्ति. एकः ह्रस्वौ वर्णः अपरः दीर्घौ वर्णः. So all other conditions are satisfied. Ajarihi pratyayah api asti. The pratyaya is ajadi, but it is not sup. Ayam ting pratyayah, natu sup pratyayah. Tasmad atra yanadeshah na bhavati uvang. Uvangi krite. Uvang does not have that thing. It does not have supi. It just says any ajadi pratyaya. So atra uvangi krite luluvatuhu. Okay, that is about Os supi. Now there are some few other ukarantas. Ukarantah Pumlinga svabhu shabdah. Swasmad bhavati. Born out of oneself is svabhu. Bhu sattayam iti dhatuhu. Tasya kvip pratyayah. Svabhu ityasti. Na bhu sudhiyohu. Iti nishedhaha. Eranekacha sanyoga Os supi na bhu sudhiyohu. I have already studied this for sudhi shabda. Sudhi shabdasya yanadesho na bhavati. Bhu ityantasya angasya api yanadesho na bhavati. Since it is bhu, there is no yan. Other conditions are there. Ukarantaha asanyoga purvaha anekat supratyayah sarvam asti. Tathapi na bhu sudhiyohu iti nishedhat yan na bhavati. Svabhuvau svabhuvaha. Yanaha bhave sarvatra uvangeva. So svabhuhu svabhuvau svabhuvaha. Evam swayambhuhu. Swayam bhavati iti swayambhuhu swayambhuvau swayambhuvaha. There is also another word called varshabhu. Ukarantaha Pumlingaha varshabhu shabdaha. Varshasu bhuhu ityarthaha. That which is born or which exists during Varsha kala, which is the rainy season. Varshasu bhavati ityarthe varshabhu bhudhatuhu kvip. Varshabhu ityasya mandokaha ityarthaha. It means a frog. Frogs breed in the rainy season. So that is why it is called varshabhu. Okay. Now atrapi bhu ityasti. So this is also bhu. Na bhu sudhiyoho iti yanaha nishedhaha asti. So we cannot do yan here because of na bhu sudhiyoho. But the form has yan. Varshabhuhu, varshabhvau, varshabhvaha iti rupam. That rupe yanadeshah shruyate. Tasmat nabhu sudhiyohu iti yanaha nishedhe prapte varshabhvascha iti sutram. Okay. So varshabhvaha cha. So see in the sutra itself varshabhvaha ityatraiva yanadeshah asti. So achishnu dhatu bhrumam ityatah achi iti anuvartate. Ino yan ityatah yan iti os supi iti anuvartate. Asya uvarnasya. Asya nama varshabhu shabdasya yah ukaraha tasya yan syat achi supi. So this is a nishedha for the nishedha. I mean to overrule the nishedha nabhu sudhiyohu, he had to create a new sutra. It says varshabhvascha. So for varshabhu, even though it ends in bhu, there is yan. Varshabhuhu, varshabhvau, varshabhvaha ityadini rupani. Okay. So if you notice, the actual prakriya stopped long ago. There is only either uvang or yan. Now the process is only deciding where there is uvang and where there is yan. Kutra yan bhavati, kutra uvang bhavati. Tavadeva prakriyayam anyat kimapi nasti. So dribhati iti drambhuhu. Okay. So dribhi granthe iti dhatuhu. Tauladikaha. Tasya andu drambhu jambu kaphelu karkandhu didhishu iti unadi sutrena nipatitaha. Okay. Dhatu is dribh. There is an aunadika pratyaya which is u. So there is a ready-made form as drambhu. Okay. So there is the u pratyaya, there is a numagama. You have drambhu iti shabdaha nipatitaha. So you should notice that the ukara is not from a dhatu. Right? Yadyapi bhu iti shruyate, tathapi dhatuhu bhu iti nasti. So this is not bhu dhatu. This is dribh dhatu, u iti aunadikah pratyayah. So it is not a dhatu. Drumphau, drumphah, drumphum, drumphau, drumphon. So that is why, if you notice the Kaumudi, he has given the second. Everywhere he has been giving only drumphau, drumphah. If he gives only that, you will not know what is the difference. That is why he gives the Ditya Vibhakti also. Drumphum, drumphau, drumphon. So what do we make from this? Amipurvaha pratamayoh purva savarnaha has been applied, which means the Yanadesha is by Iko Enachi and not by Osupi. Yadi Osupi iti Yanadesha syat, tarhi Amiparepi Shasiparepi syat. Kintu nasti. So, Amipare Amipurvaha iti purva rupam kritam, Shasipare purva savarna dirghah kritah. Korthaha Iko Enachi iti Yanadesha, sambadhitva Ami Shasi cha purva rupam purva savarna dirghascha bhavatah. So since Ukaraha dhatoh nasti. Okay. Since this is not an Ukaranta dhatu, atra yanadeshasya prasaktireva nasti. There is no yan by osupi. Sarvatra iko yanati iti yanadeshaha ajadishu pratyayeshu. Shesham hu vatim. So this belongs to the first type of Ukarantas which we saw earlier, where it was eco energy. No dhatutva, no nadi samya. There are a few more words in Ukarantas. It is 6 now, according to my time. I think this will take another 10 minutes. So, can I continue? There are just 2 more slides actually. So, we'll finish Ukarantas today. Drin iti nante himsarthe avyeye bhuvah kritu. What we saw was drimbhuhu, where there was a makara. Right? Now there is an avyaya called drin. Okay. Drin iti nante himsarthe avyeye. Drin himsayam ityarthaha. Right? So it's a himsarthaka avyaya. So tasmat bhu, tasmin upapade bhu iti dhatohu kvip pratyayah. The earlier one was dribh dhatu and u pratyaya. Here it is drin iti avyayam, bhu iti dhatuhu kvip pratyaya. So you have a pratipadika called drin bhu. Okay. So now this is a dhatu. Dhatu asya bhu na bhu sudhiyoh tenah nishiddhatvat achishta dhatu bhuvam iti uang prapnoti. Kintu vartikam vidyate drin kara punah purvasya bhuvo yan vaktavyah iti vartikam. So if there is a Varshabhascha was a sutra to overrule Nabhu Sudhiyoho. Atra tu Vartikam Vidyate. Drin Kara Punah Purvasya Bhuvaha. So if Bhu Dhatu is preceded by the word Drin or Kara or Punaha, these 3 words, then there will be Yanadesha. Yan Vaktavyaha. Nabhu Sudhiyoho iti nishedho na bhavati. Yanadesho bhavati. Bhavati chet drindvam drumvaha. So he gives again and shas to show that the end is by osupi. Osupi ityanena yanadeshaha khalapu vat. Sarvatra ajadishu pratyayeshu osupi iti yanadeshaha. Since this is bhu dhatu, tatra dribh dhatuhu u pratyayaha, ataha yanva uvangva na bhavati. Evam karabhuhu. Drin kara punaha. Karat kareva bhavati. Karat bhavati. Something which is born from the hand. Kare bhavati, or which is in the hand, is called karabhu. Okay. Karabhvam karabhaha. So atrapi yan bhavati anena vartikena. Drin kara punah purvasya bhuvo yan vaktavyah. O supi iti sutre idam vartikam anena vartikena yan bhavati. Dirgha pathe tu kara eva karaha. this Vartika, there is a Pathantara. Okay, the Pathantara which Dikshitar accepts is Drin Kara Punah Purvasya, but there is also a Pathantara which says Drin Kara Punah Purvasya. Okay, Dirgha Pathaha. The Kara has been replaced by Kara. Drin Kara Punah Purvasya Bhuvo Yen Vaktavyaha iti Vartikam Vidyate. Kara ityasya kaha arthaha iti chet Kara eva Karaha. Whatever is called Kara, it is Kara. Swarthikaha Pragyadyan. There is a Tathita Pratyaya called An, which does not change the meaning. Okay. So it is not Karaka, it's only Kara ityeva Shabdaha. Seva arthaha. Kare bhavati ityarthe Kara. So Kare bhavati Karat bhavati ityarthe Karabhvam Karabhaha. So it can either be Karabhvam Karabhaha or Karabhvam Karabhaha. Okay. So whether depending on if you are taking a Hrasva Patha as Drin Kara Punah Purvasya or Dirgha Patha as Drin Kara Punah Purvasya. Okay. But you should remember that both is not accepted. You cannot use both Karabhvam and Karabhvam. Dirgha Pate Karapurvasya Uvangeva. If you are accepting that the Kartika has Dirgha, Drin Kara Punah Purvasya, then for Karabhu it will be Karabhuvam Karabhuvaha. For Hrasva it will be Uvang, and for Dirgha it will be Yan. Hrasva Pathe, if we are accepting the Hrasva Patha, Drin Kara Punah Purvasya yadi angikriyate, Karapurvasya Yan, then Karabhuhu Karabhvam Karabhau Karabhaha ityatra Yan, Karabhuvam Karabhaha, Dirghantasya tu or Dirgha Yuktasya Shabdasya tu Uvang. Okay. So depending on what Patha you take, these two will vary. It is not, you cannot use both. Okay. So if you are accepting the Hrasva Patha, there will be Yan for Hrasva and Uvang for Dirgha. If you are accepting a Dirgha Patha, then there will be Yan for Dirgha and Uvang for Hrasva. Yeah. Drin Kara Punah Purvasya. Punarbhuhu Yaugikah Pumsi iti dattam. Punarbhu Shabdaha kaha arthaha. Punaha bhavati. He who is born again. Ityartha. Actually, the word Punarbhu is a Nitya Strilinga. Okay, it's a special word. It's a Rudhi. Punarbhur Didishu Rudha iti Koshat. So, I hope you know all this is from the Balamanorama. Whatever is in green, Vyakhyataha. So, Balamanorama Karaha vadati. Nanu Punarbhuhu Didishuhu Udha iti Koshat. This is from the Amara Kosha. Punarbhu Shabdasya Strilingatvat. So, Punarbhu, you should know that words are of two types. One is Yaugika. Actually, there are four types. You have Yoga Rudhi, and Yaugika Rudhi. So, words which are directly where you are deriving from a Nishpati. For example, Lunati iti Luhu. He who cuts is called a Lu. We call them as Yaugika. That is, Yoga means a Shastra. So, your the derivation is from a dhatu or from a this. So, whatever is the meaning of the original dhatu, the same meaning would be retained. That is called a Yaugika. But there are cases where the Yaugika Artha is different and the Artha which is currently in vogue, the Prasiddha Artha is different. Okay. For example, there is a word called Kushala. Kushala iti Shabdaha Vidyate. The original meaning, if you go to the Vyutpati of Kushala, it is Kushan Lunati. He who cuts the Kusha grass well is what's called a Kushala. That is how we derive the Vyutpati. Okay, but today, what does the word Kushala mean? It means somebody who is skilled. Right? Kushala Shabdasya Sayavarthaha. Kushan iha vastutaha lunati, tasya Kushala iti nocchate. Right? Kushala is firmly giving the meaning of somebody who is skilled. Okay. There is a relation. Since cutting the Kusha grass required skill, there is a modification in the Artha. But now this is a Rudhi Artha. Rudhi means that is in practice. In the language, in Prayoga, it has got the modified meaning of somebody who is skilled. Okay. So there is Yoga and Rudhi. Now Punarbhu by Rudhi, it means a woman who is married a second time. Punaha bhavati. Punarbhuhu Didishuhu Udha. Who is already married and who is marrying a second time. That is the meaning of punarbhu, rudhyartha, and it is a nitya strilinga. Okay. So when it is a nitya strilinga, nanu punarbhuhu didishu rudha iti koshat, punarbhu shabdasya strilingatvat, strilingadhikare eva tannirupanam yuktam. So that word should actually come in strilingas, ukaranta strilingas. How are you taking it up in the pullinga? Iti prashnaha. Atayeva dikshitaihi uchyate punarbhuhu yaugikaha pumsi. So we are not taking the rudhyartha here. We are taking the only yoga artha. Yogena kaha arthaha punaha bhavati. Punaha bhavati iti kriya nimittasya punarbhu shabdasya. So anybody who is born again can be called punarbhu if you are taking only the yogika artha. So pullingatvam api asti. In such a case, it is also a pullinga. In rudhi, punarbhu is nitya strilinga, but by yoga artha, if you are just telling it as punaha bhavati ityeva artha, there is no extra connotation which is added by practice or by prayoga. So in such a case, punarbhu can also be pullinga. Punarbhu yogika pumsi. Tada kim bhavati punarbhu punarbhau punarbhvaha. Drinkara punah purvasya yan vaktavyaha iti vartikena yan bhavati punarbhau punarbhvaha ityadini rupani. Drigbhu karabhu shabdhau swayambhu vate. So if there is any other word which is derived from the dhatu bhu, okay, drishi bhavati athava karayam bhavati, whatever the artha. If bhu has quip, then there is no yan. Swayambhu vate na bhu sudhiyoho iti yan nishedhaha. The only exceptions are there is varshabhu. Okay, varshabhashta iti sutrena yan. There is drinbhu karabhu punarbhu. Drin kara punah purvasya bhuvo yan vaktavyaha iti yan. That's all. These are the only 4 exceptions. Other than these, any other word which ends with bhu, swabhu, swayambhu, dribhu, karabhu, anything will not get yan. The bhu sudhiyoho iti nishedha sarvatra uvang, swayambhuvau, karabhuvau, drigbhuvau, etc. Okay. Iti udantaha. So there in the ukaranta pullingas. So there is only, there are 4 types. The first one was hu, where there is neither dhatu samya nor nadi karya. There are words like atichamu, where there would be nadi prayuktani karyani. And then there are cases where the ukara is derived from a dhatu. So there are 2. If it is the dhatu has conditions satisfying the yan for o supi, then there would be yan. If the conditions are not satisfied, there would be uvang. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Ravichandranji. Sutra number.
Yeah, you have been telling that Eranakaj, Asanga Puraka, OP Supi, they belong to 7th chapter, 7.4. But all the books I'm looking at, they are all looking at 6.4, 6.4, 6.483
Yeah,
and
6.4. I'm sorry. Correct. I was correct. It is 6.4. I got confused. So from Achishnu Dhatu Bhuvam, everything is in 6.4. Sorry for creating the confusion where there was none. It is 6.4. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Since we have a long break between classes for these days, I thought that we could do some exercise for recapping what we have learned. So there is a shloka. I want you to do 2 things. One is to break the sandhis and do the prakriya. Whatever exercise I give should be with sutras. Okay. So sutra sahitam sandhi vibhagaha. So wherever applicable, split the words and give the sandhi along with sutra. First thing. And the second thing, for subantas, okay, there is only one subanta there, do the prakriya. Okay. It's actually a very easy one, what we have just done. गुरुरेव गतिर् गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Okay, so for this shloka this actually has different forms of guru, of the pratiparika guru. So whatever is the word, derive those words, prakriya of those words, and sandhi, sandhichhedah, yatra sambhavati tatra sandhichhedah. Okay, so we'll discuss this next class. This is the homework, and then we'll move on to Rakaranta words. येनाक्षर समां नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तीश्वरि भाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते.